let's jump in and create the form for this page. So let's go over to the widget component and search for the form component widget, and we can drop this in here. And just want to make sure it's centered within the child container. So just click on the child container and let's go over to advanced, and let's add some padding to the top, let's add some to the bottom, to the left. Let's do 30 again to the left and 30 to the right. So that's looking pretty centered there. Let's double check the layout. Let's also just justify this at center so everything's okay. So let's go into the form. Let's style this form out now. Let's make sure we give this form a name so we can reference this later on. So free quote form, and we want to have the name, email address, and telephone number and postcode, zip code. So when the inquiry comes in, when it's received, they know how to contact the person and know how far they're located from them. So let's go over here. We have name, email, and message. So let's just add in name, email, but we want name and email to be together because I don't believe anyone's name is going to be that long. So if we click onto name, and instead of that being 100% of the width, let's change that to 50%. Okay, and let's also change the email to 50% as well. Okay, so that's looking good. Now we don't really need both labels, so we have name here, have email, email, message, message. So we can have one or the other. So let's just remove that now. So it says label, it says show, we can remove that, and we just leave the label within the field. We can now add two more fields to house the mobile number or telephone number and postcode or zip code. So we want that to be underneath where it says email, in between email and message. So let's add two more fields. Let's change this one here. You can see all the different types of fields you can have. So we want this to be tel, and we want the label, let's do tel as well, and we want a placeholder to say telephone number, and we can leave that required. And for the next one, we can have a zip code. So let's click on text, and we want this to be zip code and a placeholder there. So that's looking good. Once required as well, that is fine. Now we want to change this here. So it says message, let's give it something a bit more personal. So instead of it's just saying message inside it, let's change that to say, so yeah, please provide a brief description about your requirements. That's looking good. We want to make sure that all of these fields are required. You don't have to have all of your fields required, but in this case, I do believe it's important to have these required, because if you were to submit this form and you do not have a description, how can the company help you? So in this case, I'm going to make sure that all of these forms or fields are required. So we can just select this here where it says required, yes. Name should be yes, emails yes, telephone numbers yes, zip codes yes. Yep, so everything there is a required field. We can now move over to start styling this now. So we go over to buttons, just want that centered, it's looking good. And if we go over to style, we can start styling this out. So column gap, it's fine. Let's just move the rows gap a little bit up, so about 15. It's okay. So if we go over to the fields, it has a border. I want that, I don't like the black there. Let's go for our branding colors. Let's give it that orange, which is good. And I'm just going to round these edges a little bit more. So let's give it's looking much better. Let's preview this quickly. Now it's going to change the typeface and the styles to the text and the fields there. Let's go back over to Elementor and let's click on, make sure we're in the forms column here, and where we have field, you can actually select typography. Let's give it our usual typeface, give it a size of 16, and let's change the color. So let's give it the blue. Looking good. Let's preview this. Yep, it's looking fine. Now let's have a look at this button here. So let's go over to the button and we'll change the background color. We definitely do not want that gray. Let's give it that nice orange, and let's round the corners of the border here. So do 25. That's good. So let's go to typeface. Let's put in our typeface that we want to use. That's fine. What weight should we use? A nice bold weight, and just give it a 16. Yeah. So I'm going to change the wording on this button. I don't really like it saying send. So let's go back to content. We have buttons here. We can actually change that. I'm going to put submit. So let's preview this quickly. Doing good. Oh, it hasn't actually got any hover effect. So let's add a little hover effect to it now. So we've selected the form. Let's go over to style and button. We'll place hover on the background color to change. That's good. And we also apply the same animation pulse. So if we preview this now, it will pulse. That's good.